Or maybe Bigfoots just come with volcanoes.
Hey.
Well, now there's a thought.
You know,
What do you mean by that?
big volcanoes erupt Bigfoots.
Oh.
Leaf Life.
Few myths or mysteries have reached the level of notoriety as this American Pacific Northwest hairy, foul-smelling, ape-like man. Why are we so fascinated with this enigma, and why the fuck haven't we found him? This is Bigfoot.
Well, you know what they say about big feet, right, ladies?
Oh, yeah. I do know.
Our first segment, the legend. And he is a legend. And what is the legend? I also, in the second segment, I smoked with Bigfoot and other stories.
Oh, God.
But before we get educated, we've got to get medicated, so let's get stoned.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Good energy today. This is going to be a really fun one. So wherever your day has led you, now it's time to fire up, chew up, drink up, get in the mood as we introduce this show's Greg the Guinea Pig.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Greg the Guinea Pig. Who's our guest this week?
Greg the Guinea Pig warning. These tasks are undertaken by experienced cannabis users and under the supervision of accredited professionals. So please take our advice and definitely try this at home.
All right, he's here. He's kind of famous. He's Tyler Bounds. He worked on the TV show Finding Bigfoot on Discovery for 6 seasons and is a fielding investigator for BFRO, the Bigfoot Researchers Organization. And he's got a YouTube channel called Pacific Northweird. Tyler, welcome to the Leaf Life Podcast.
Thanks for having me, guys. Glad to be here.
He's got his Bigfoot swag on. He's got on like a 15-year-old grassroots shirt, but he is rocking a Motorhead shirt, a t-shirt.
Cool.
That's very rock and roll of you, brother.
Well.
So, hey, let's spin AJ's wheel and see what's in AJ's stash.
And now, what's in AJ's stash?
All right, he's going to be puffing on something. What is it, AJ?
All right, y'all. We've got a treat for you, our deep Bigfoot explorer.
Do you have big feet, bro?
Average.
Okay, well,
I'm
nothing wrong with
average
that.
foot.
What's that, like 5 inches? I'm sorry.
No,
Size
sweetie.
10?
Feet.
Yes.
Fair.
So we've got this carrot cake sativa. This is orange Skittles times ice cream cake by some of our best breeders out here in Washington State. This is Freddy's Fuego. These guys are incredible, and I do think you're going to enjoy this, my friend.
The owner, Ben Davis, was on our pheno hunting show. He is one of the premier pheno hunters in the state of Washington. He's won
Absolutely.
numerous leaf bowls at our leaf bowl competition here in Washington. Of course, we throw those all over the country. We've done a bunch of them in 4 states, and our 5th state will be California this summer.
Yeah, this is a really good cured resin cartridge, y'all. And, you know, with these guys, all the terps are always going to be straight from the flower. They're taking premium, top shelf, best of the best flower, and they're turning that into a premium concentrate for y'all out there in the cannabis world.
Well, some cool hardware. I like the design. They've got a new aesthetic that's pretty sexy.
Yeah,
No doubt. Shout out to Ben.
Yeah, Freddy's Fuego. And check them out on Instagram.
Check us out on YouTube if you want to see their packaging and their beautiful carts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's-
really cool designs.
It's
At
Leaf
Leaf-
Life Podcast V2 on YouTube. All right.
Ooh, smoke better. Do y'all smoke Freddy Fuego?
And where are they from?
Freddy's
Are they
Fuego.
local?
Yeah, they're over on the peninsula. Yeah, the Olympic Peninsula here in the state of Washington. All right, so let's talk about the legend of Bigfoot. Who was the first person who claimed to see this mythological character? Was that what you would call him? Okay, what is he? What is he?
First of all, I'm going to start off by saying you keep referring to it as he. And there is more than one.
Okay.
Yes.
Because they are biological entities. So there's
Yes.
he's and she's, and
Yeah.
you know, there's a really
And babies.
famous piece of
Oh, yeah.
footage from 1967
Yeah.
called the Patterson-Gimlin film, and that Bigfoot in that film is actually female.
Are there
There's-
nice titties?
One of the reasons I'm into Bigfoot is so that I can say pendulous breasts with a straight face.
Pendulous
Pendulous. Okay,
Because
so they don't
they
wear
are
bras.
there's no bras, and you know, so they're there.
There's a
And
hair
they're
bra, though.
very
You think that
obviously-
provide a little
So-
sport.
Great question, Mary, by the way.
But the first person to see them, I mean, they've been part of mythology and lore. One of the very first things ever written was, Beowulf and the hairy
Oh, yeah,
monster
yeah, yeah.
Grendel,
Yeah.
just like the first book ever written. So there's always been the
So
hairy,
Grendel
hairy
is
monster
Bigfoot?
man.
Could be
Could be.
Yeah.
in the
you know,
same
you know?
family.
And the First Nations, the early people,
Yeah.
all from around the world, all had different names for a very similar creature
Right.
Yeah.
that we would call today Bigfoot.
Yeah, like
Here
in
in
Central
Pacific
Asia, they
Northwest.
call them almasti, but those seem to be almost more like wild human-like than Chewbacca, hairy beast-like.
Wow.
And
So-
here in the Pacific Northwest, our Yakama nations and Salish nations, his name is Salish or Sasquatch. But we have many stories, and specifically Yakama Nation believes that is the origin of our people. Is Salish, and so we came from Salish, and it's still very much celebrated and revered as a actual being ancestor that's still living amongst us. And many tribes have stories of seeing and interacting with them here in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, and all over the country. I actually have a good friend. She's works for the Department of Anthropology for the state of California, and she wrote a book called Gods and Monsters that goes through every tribe in North America, and without fail, every tribe has some sort of story about Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Saskattle, Stick Indians, Wendigos, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
So it's very consistent all across the entire continent.
And what's wild is that when we compare all those stories, those tribes didn't have like instant messaging
Right.
or
Exactly.
reader boards to go to, and a lot of them were
Right.
very isolated. And then you go to like different continents,
Mhm.
and so to me, when you have that many reports, that many anecdotes,
Yeah.
the sum of the total adds
Yeah.
up to something.
Absolutely.
And I don't think that should be discounted.
No.
And there's like common factors for sure too, yeah. Like the stench. I feel like there's like the stench is like a common factor. The hairy body, and also like the size.
Right. And, and they also, there's a lot of, they always make them out to be like really scary, like cannibals, or they're going to steal your children.
Oh, God.
And, there's, Salish tribes that have stories of, they call it the whistling woman. And there's masks and totem poles of this whistling woman, because they would hear something in the woods whistling and trying to entice the children to come into the woods, and then steals the kids. So that was the story, like, behave, kids, or else, Saskattle is going to take you away, the whistling woman.
So what about facts and history? Like the first grainy video came out that you mentioned one in the 60s. Is that one available online? Was that one famous?
Yeah, it's very famous.
That's the one of him walking, that we've all seen, right?
Her.
My
It's a
apologies,
female.
brother. I don't remember seeing boobs.
Her name is Patty.
Okay. You gave her a name. Cool.
Such a wild name.
Well, there was a couple cowboys from Yakima, actually, who drove down to Northern California, Bob Gimlin and Roger Patterson, and to go look for Bigfoot and try to get a film, and then they did. But because it's the Patterson-Gimlin film, they gave her the name Patty.
Oh, I see.
So it's kind of short for Patty.
Yeah.
Patterson, sorry. Roger Patterson passed away several years ago, but Bob Gimlin is still alive. He lives in Yakima, Natchez.
Yeah.
out in
That's here in
Natchez,
Washington State, on the
Washington
eastern
State.
side of the state.
Yeah.
So with surveillance and everything, why don't we have any clues? I know there have been hair samples, and I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
Oh,
because
no,
I'm sitting next
100%.
to, kind of a cousin of the species called the bearded lorax.
Right.
Our bearded
so,
lorax.
So I believe.
Right.
Easy believer.
I mean, that's a very good question, right? Because there's photos all over the place from 1967, or even a little bit before that, forward, and it's always grainy 35 millimeter film, because it's so old.
Yeah.
And now everybody walks around with a cell phone in their pocket. They have a high quality, state of the art camera in their pocket all the time. And why aren't there more photos, right? And everything is still blurry and shaky, and there's so much weird stuff on YouTube now, because people are just faking stuff for likes and for follows or whatever. And now AI, I see so many videos now and clips that are obvious. I mean, it's obviously not a dude in a suit, but it's not real.
Yeah.
But it's hard to tell, because now AI is such a weird, pervasive thing.
I feel like, with the evolution of technology, like that's part of why maybe they're hiding out more, because there are stories like National Guard documented stories. Did you guys know in Skamania County that it's actually illegal to hunt a Bigfoot, and it's
that's
like
good.
written into their law because there was so much activity around it, because at one point Bigfoots were very active in
County
Skamania
as well. Whatcom County has laws on the books against harassing and molesting Bigfoots.
Bigfoot, exactly.
So you didn't answer the question.
What was the question again?
Why haven't
we found one? Yeah.
Why haven't we gotten them on video? Or when we have satellites now.
Yeah.
It's not 1967.
I know. There's satellites that
infrared.
can read your license plate, but they can't find a Bigfoot out in the woods.
So maybe they don't want to.
Yeah.
I think also people are less observant today.
Yeah,
like those cowboys that went out into the woods, they went on like a 2-week, 3-week trip.
And
they had like had pack horses.
Yeah.
They had pack
and their horses that they were riding. Like
they didn't even have a horse trailer. They packed 2 horses into the back of a Volkswagen van and drove it down to Northern California.
Men today have
Bluff Creek
man buns and get soy lattes and eat vegan food.
Well, that's okay.
Like it's like they're not going out in the woods as much and exploring. So there's probably less people than ever out in those really remote areas, and there's immense
But there's actually
wilderness.
a lot of people out there, because ever since the pandy and a lot of people had to be locked up. So I've noticed a lot more people going to the woods.
Awesome.
And there's a lot of it's great, day hikers and the further out you go, the less people you see.
And people
obviously.
searching for Bigfoot. I've seen documentaries. They're obsessed.
There's TV shows. There's another TV show that just started yesterday, I think, called Expedition Bigfoot.
Yeah.
And I know those guys, and I know that.
And they all end the same. Well, if he does exist, there's never any evidence.
Yeah, or we found the evidence, but we can't show you, and we're still working on it.
So I'm asking you,
analyzing.
the authority on Bigfoot, where the fuck is he, dude?
I'm out there.
Sorry.
Them. It's a family. Yeah.
There you go. Wait, what was the question again?
Where are
Never
they?
mind. Solve the mystery.
Yeah, I mean, that's
from my research, it states that like they're mostly upper north, at least here in the territorial Americas. We're finding them and encounters of them upper, like from Washington up into Canada and across. If you just go Washington across the nation and upward to British,
it goes like Washington,
territories.
Oregon. I think the state with a third amount of sightings is Ohio. Actually.
Wow.
There's reports from every state except for Hawaii.
I have a good story actually here in Washington.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Still haven't answered the fucking question, dude.
Where, I mean, you want their address or their email?
There's got to be an explanation. We live in a time of surveillance. That for so many decades they told us that UFOs were not real, and now they're saying, well, there's evidence now.
My personal belief is that there are less of them. I need to drink. I need to take
would you like
get a shot of liquor, bro?
No, I got.
Here.
Okay. I'm putting the man on the spot. Respectfully, brother.
I love these questions. That's why I come do these things. There's lots of
theories.
Lots of theories and lots of good discussion, and anything I can do to educate from what I know or what I think I know, because I don't know, nothing's for sure. I saw 2 of them when I was a little kid with my grandfather.
Oh, awesome.
But I was like 4 years old, and I know what I saw, and it's burned into my brain.
Yeah.
And that's what set me on this path.
Where were you?
I was in Northern California.
Doing what?
My grandfather had a 5,000-acre ranch in Ashland, Oregon.
Wow.
Like a working ranch, and horse riding and trail bikes and Land Rovers and whatever.
Southern Oregon. And I went down there for a family reunion, and my grandfather had double booked himself. And he was a Boy Scout leader. He was my dad's Boy Scout leader. My dad was my Boy Scout leader. It was a thing. But
he had to go on some Boy Scout hike for a day, and I went with him. And I was like 4, maybe 5, but I don't know, somewhere in there. And I was out with just little knee-high guy with a bunch of Boy Scouts out in the woods, and my grandfather, who was at the front. I remember him stopping us, and some of it's hard to remember just because of the fog of time, but it's so burned into my brain. But he stopped us, and then there was a thing across the trail, probably 50, 75 feet in front of us. And then another one, and it was a little bit smaller, but the same thing. And they were gone. And my grandfather cast some footprints. He had plaster of Paris in one of the cars. And I remember taking that footprint back to the ranch and leaning it up against this outbuilding where there were like a dozen other footprint casts. So my grandfather had been into it. I didn't know anything about it. I had no idea. I don't remember being told anything about Bigfoot, but I remember when I was a little kid, my favorite TV show in the world was Land of the Lost.
Oh.
And there's the cavemen and the Chaka, the little cave guy.
And the slee stacks.
And I mean, I'm a dinosaur nerd to this day. I went to school for paleontology, and I'm more than just an average dinosaur nerd. Yeah, Land of the Lost really like set me on my 2 deepest interests in life.
So cool.
But apparently my mom would tell me that when I watched Land of the Lost, I would say, that's what I saw with Grandpa. That's what I saw with Grandpa. Is the hairy cavemen.
Wow.
And, and then in the 70s when Sasquatch teamed up with the $6 million man, and they fought crime together.
Steve Austin.
See, yeah. And, throwing styrofoam boulders at each other and swinging logs.
So cool, man.
It's crazy. But I remember watching that when I was 6 or 7 and like, dude, Bigfoot. I mean, and growing up in the Pacific Northwest, you hear stories, you see chainsaw carvings. There's in Arlington, where I grew up, there's a Bigfoot music. There's a Bigfoot lock and key.
Yep.
And they've been there since the 80s, So that's what really set me off on this, and weird set of circumstances. I ended up in the Bigfoot community, and then ended up on a TV show doing production on a Bigfoot TV show.
Epic.
Good
It was-
job.
It was crazy.
In the
It
second
was super
segment,
crazy.
I want to hear your theory. All right.
Okay.
As to, amongst other things, like I smoked with Bigfoot and other stories that people have told, which are true, which are fabricated. But first, Tyler, it's time for you to play Awkward.
Nice.
Awkward.
As if it hasn't
Right up my alley.
gotten awkward already.
This is what I live for, man.
Okay.
My whole life is awkward. I'm here with you, dude. I'm here with you.
Yeah.
That is awkward.
I don't know. You guys probably don't know, but I have a history with Ricker. And from 20 years ago, almost.
But we've
exactly.
never met, bro.
I think we did meet once.
Really?
Yeah, I met you at a hemp fest. Like, dude, it was like
That was Wes.
2007, 2008,
Yeah.
2000. I don't know.
Nice.
But I mean, I heard you on KISW. And I remember being at KISW events, Hemp Fest, and around. I don't know. We were both in Seattle at the same time.
Fuck yeah, bro.
So
in the music scene.
and I listened to you every day on KISW.
Oh, thank you, my friend.
And
That's
you
the.
always made me laugh.
That's-
And
thank
then
you.
I get a call like, "Yeah, I was the Ricker." Like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean,
The voice and
another
everything,
full
right?
circle thing. It's another full circle. Everything gets you right back to where you're supposed to be.
Well, I wanted you to
dig
know that
that.
we're not just a bunch of chumps.
yeah, that's
You know
right.
what I mean? We know
Well,
we're
what
doing.
am I
Mary
doing
was on the
here?
radio for
Who are you
25
people?
years.
You probably didn't think that at all, right?
Yeah.
right.
All right, here we go,
We
brother.
are
You
the
ready?
Awkward.
Ready.
Awkward.
Number 1. Enthusiasts point to mounds of evidence through eyewitness accounts, photographs, videos, and even DNA evidence that Bigfoot is real. To date, though, none of this is proved to be a trustworthy according to most scientists, and most eyewitness accounts have often turned out to be hoaxes. Are you sure they didn't just see a bearded Lorax?
I am not sure.
You never know.
It could be, but it's probably no. I mean, there's way too many stories for way too long, and
They're all pretty awkward stories.
Yeah.
I do
They're
like
all-
pendulous breasts.
Yeah.
pendulous breasts. Yeah,
So I might be
you
out
know,
there just,
just
swiping
very.
right in the woods.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Show,
I can't wait to
hey,
tell my
show us
story.
on this doll where the Bigfoot touched you.
Tyler,
Oh my God.
maybe you should
Is
take
that
a
a thing?
picture.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awkward.
I know.
Here we go. Number 2. Hobbits also have big feet, but they don't go around naming themselves after them.
Oh, but it's not. Are there?
And hairy feet, too.
Yeah.
Big
They
hairy
got
feet.
hairy little
Right?
big feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what?
They're still
Or
little
just-
big feet.
Yeah.
It's
or,
all it's
you know,
awkward.
or some like little. Oh, there goes a little elbows.
Oh dear. Oh, now it's really
Are
awkward.
we talking big or are we talking little? I like to talk big.
Ooh,
Jesus.
Well, I think
God,
that's what
what's
we're here to
happening?
talk about.
awkward.
Yeah.
Awkward.
Number 3. Since Bigfoot obviously has 2 big feet, Mary would like to know if that also applies to the you-know-what.
Hands.
Hands, yes, hands.
Actually, though, have you ever seen a Bigfoot penis?
There is a piece of video online.
Of
No
course.
way.
It was actually for, I don't remember the name of the TV show, but it was a motorhome full of Playboy bunnies,
Oh, Jesus.
and they're filming some Playboy Bunnies weekend or some TV show that was on or used to be on or maybe is still on. I'm not sure. And they were up in the redwoods, and it's an incidental piece of footage because they're on the bus. They hear something outside, and they're not sure. And I think maybe somebody had seen something, and it walks in front of the motorhome, and the headlights are on, and it's either they're carrying a medium-sized stick or
he liked the.
No way.
He smelled the ladies.
Yeah.
He said, "Oh,
And-
You're
Yeah.
insinuating that the Sasquatch was peering in on a Playboy bunny cabin weekend
And got a
Yeah.
boner.
and
and-
got a bone?
yeah.
Who can blame him?
So you can find this online by Googling Playboy Bigfoot. And
Wow,
it-
thank you,
yeah.
Hugh Hefner, for
And whatever you
Playboy
find, that's not
Bigfoot
my fault.
weekend.
That's not my fault.
By the way, Mary's headlights are on, and she'd like to be introduced. Hey, if you want to
Mary.
discover cannabis news, reviews, entertainment, and culture, and explore every single Leaf magazine at your convenience, search leafmagazines.com. Coming up on our second segment, I smoked with Bigfoot and other stories. We'll get another spin of AJ's wheel and kick it all off with another episode of Not for Nothing with Mary J. White. Leaf Life continues in just a sec.
These products have intoxicating effects and may be habit forming.
Marijuana can impair concentration, coordination, and judgment.
Do not operate a vehicle or machinery under the influence of this drug.
There may be health risks associated with consumption of these products.
For use by adults 21 and older.
Keep out of the reach of children.
Leaf Life.
Welcome to the second half of this show called Bigfoot. In just a moment, I smoked with Bigfoot and other stories. And we'll spin AJ's wheel to see what products Tyler Bounds, who worked on the TV show Finding Bigfoot on Discovery for 6 seasons and is a fielding investigator for BFRO, the Bigfoot Researchers Organization, and has a YouTube channel called Pacific Northweird. He's this show's Greg the Guinea Pig. We'll see what he's going to be trying next. But first, it's time for Not for Nothing.
Well, not for nothing. I couldn't help but thinking. Not for nothing.
All right, Mary, what's going on?
This is very, very scary.
Mary is very
Scary.
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 So,
Gird your loins. This is a rough story, you guys.
Ay,
Okay.
ay, ay.
But recently, the rangers, the Forest Service Rangers in the Shasta Trinity National Forest found, it's very sad, they found a very, very unprepared climber at 10,000 feet.
Oh, what?
Yeah. This particularly unprepared Mount Shasta climber was a goose.
Oh, I thought you said
A
Bigfoot.
goose. Aw.
It's a goose. So this goose, a dumbass. He's. I mean, come on.
Goosing around.
Well, gooses don't hang out at the top of the mountain, but the rangers are cute. They're like, he had only one layer of goose down on, and he was not prepared for the temperatures or overnight camping. Anyway, the rangers, Nick and Eric Falconer, that was his real name.
Wow.
They offered the goose a quick descent to a local pond, and the goose is better now.
Aw, I love
Nice.
this story.
Isn't that cute?
The falconer saved him.
Yes.
Wow.
Totally fits.
I want a last name,
Bird jokes.
Falconer. That's a sexy
Isn't that-
name.
I know,
Except
isn't
for
it?
if it was a real falcon, it would have ate the goose.
Well, there would have been a
Goose.
problem for sure.
Goose is a little large for a falcon, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they'll eat children that are small enough.
They will not.
And what
They're
did
pretty
Bigfoot
wild.
eat? Oh, we'll get to that
I'm more
in a
scared of
moment.
a goose than a falcon.
I'm more
Yeah,
scared of
goose
Bigfoot.
are trippy, man.
Oh, you don't have to be.
We're
I
just
am
scared of
Bigfoot.
that big stick.
I am
Bigfoot
not.
is friendly, right?
I am not afraid of big sticks. I'm just gonna
Right, Tyler?
public announcement.
For the most part, yes.
Okay.
I mean, you
No
hear
one's been
horror
killed.
stories, but it always turns out to be like he said, she said, like somebody said, and then it gets turned into a game of telephone, you know?
Yeah.
And you know, you can never find the documentation or something that corroborates.
Can we
know?
do like a 3-hour show and just keep digging in? This is
Dude,
great.
That's what I was just talking about,
Jeez.
talking in a school, and I had an hour, and I was so in the weeds about Bigfooty things. with
During the
this-
commercials, you were talking about
Yeah.
teaching a class, right?
Yeah, just talking about Bigfoot. And at one point, the principal came up to me and said, you know, can you finish? You know, you need to wrap this up. I'm like, has it been an hour already? It's like, dude, it's almost 3 hours.
Really?
Oh,
That-
my God.
Like, the kids have to go to school and have to go learn other things.
Yeah.
You know, but because I can just go, and when people want to hear like every story and every, you know, why I think what I do and things I've seen and places I've gone and people I've met, and you know, a lot of times I do podcasts and I do get asked to come back and like, can we do a part 2? And it's,
Yeah.
Cool.
like, I have a lot of double episode podcasts.
Yeah, we're going to get you
out there.
back on after this. But we got a second half to do. So, Mary, thank you very much.
Right.
AJ, spin that
Yes,
wheel. Let's see where's
let's
hitting
go.
next.
All right. We've got another bomb Fuego cartridge from our boys at Freddy's Fuego. This is going to be a hybrid for you, my friend. Ooh, I love the
Nice.
blue cart on that.
Wow.
It's Oreo Blizzy.
Yum.
Oreo Blizzy.
Yes, it looks like it's going to be earthy, sort of sweet lilac notes. That's one thing I love about the boys at Freddy's Fuego is that they really do focus on the terpene profiles and they break them down. And then
That's good.
they name their strains these like dope, cool new names because they're breeding these phenones. So these are new strains that are hitting the market.
Nice.
Is it delicious?
Wow. Okay, I'm a fan of that.
Yeah?
Let's go.
What is it that you taste there?
I'm not really sure.
Any Bigfoot flavors coming
There's
to the
some
palate?
some Bigfoot terpenes in there.
Right
Some
on.
musty,
Thank you, Fred.
skunky,
Kinda nasty.
funky.
Right?
Yeah, Bigfoot's got to
Hot-
smell
hot
pretty
garbage.
fucking gross.
Oh, yeah. Well, they don't have any toilet paper and they got furry butts, and so they never wipe.
Oh yeah,
So
I'm
they
sure
smell
that.
bad.
Yeah, I'm sure they're not living their best life. Out
No
there.
one's found like
You know?
a stray Bigfoot dingleberry that they sampled and brought into a lab and just to see what they eat and stuff.
I signed an NDA. Sorry.
Fair. That would be a cool story, though. And I smoked with Bigfoot and other stories. There are so many hoaxes out there,
There are.
you know, and they're fun. Let's be real.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it is lore. It is legend.
Right.
And so anything that's legend, you know, UFOs, whatever, since the 40s or 50s, people have been making up stories about them.
Yes.
Which ones are
Not
real?
really.
About UFOs?
No, they've
Getting
all been
abducted?
real. Like, that's the whole point is that
Well,
it's
I
all
mean-
been validated.
A lot of them, yeah.
I've actually researched a guy that did a lot of hoaxing here in Washington. This guy named Rant Mullins.
UFOs or Bigfoot?
And that was back Bigfoot's.
Oh, I'm just
he carved some feet out of pieces of wood
Yeah.
and to make tracks to scare some berry pickers down by Mount Adams.
Oh, okay.
And that's kind of, and he made these and then he sold them to this guy who hoaxed a lot of stuff.
Ah.
And this guy named Ray Wallace, and there was actually a kind of a feud between these two guys. And I did a lot of research on the relationship and actually made like a whole video about it. I got these audio cassettes of an interview that only I had. It was a real deep dive into like the feud between these old timers out in the woods in Washington, and I invented Bigfoot. No, I invented Bigfoot.
Oh.
And
Invented?
You didn't invent it.
God invented Bigfoot, my friend.
right? But it's a really interesting thing. But there are a lot of people that fake stuff out there, and people, trying to fool people. And, these researchers, I can make a set of feet and fake some prints. And then it throws a lot of people off the track. But it's also a really great learning experience when, somebody reports a big trackway and it's like, dude, this is Bigfoot. And then after you cast a bunch of footprints and take photos, like on second thought, it's either a big dude or somebody's trying to mess with us.
Yeah.
So have you actually smoked with Bigfoot?
I have not, but I almost had an opportunity, kind of, sort of. We were talking about Leavenworth, Washington earlier.
Yes.
And I had
off the mic.
Yes.
Off the mic. And I had a guy that I know in Leavenworth, business owner, and he told me that at one of his, this is back in the early 90s.
Leavenworth is a city kind of in the mountains here.
Central Washington, like dead middle Washington, up in the mountains. And he was growing weed up in the hills. And, this is back when it was not legal recreationally. And his guys went up there to check on the plants, and they heard somebody taking plants and like messing around with them. So they went up there, like not guns a-blazing, but they had weapons with them. And they walked into the grow, and they walked through, and apparently there was a Bigfoot there, and the Bigfoot saw them, and they saw the Bigfoot, and they took off, and his guys wouldn't go back up there to deal with the plants.
I'm going to ask a dumb question again. Why not reach into your pocket for your cell phone and go click? No one's done that yet. All these claims.
It's scary.
Right?
It's a lame point.
I know, but I'm just, I'm trying to. I want them to be real.
Right. And with all this,
and I want a logical answer.
You have him.
They have the bearded larks.
I don't know. I think that there are less of them than there used to be.
Why?
Because there's
too many
less
people.
land for them. There's too many people and
also,
not enough forest, and times are changing, and they may have been endangered back in the 60s.
Yeah, and also there's been damage. So I have a story about Bigfoot that happened. It's about a smoking Bigfoot, actually.
Oh, wow.
It happened. So I mentioned Skymania. I was out looking for a hot springs, a lost hot springs that the native tribes used to use, the Nez Perce Nation. Found it, okay? Was pretty amazing, and it's out there where you like to fish, actually. And anyways, so I'm there. A gentleman shows up, a much older gentleman, late 80s maybe, with his wife.
Mm-hmm.
And, he's got his hair all wild. Like, they obviously live out there somewhere in a cabin. And so I'm smoking my weed, and they partake with me. And then the stories start to happen, And he basically tells me a story about how he was a young National Guard and when Mount St. Helens exploded.
Mm-hmm.
And he was, up in the forestry, up in the mountainous regions, and they had to set up, basically he said after the explosion, the weeks to follow, we were most worried about the animals, the wildlife, also there were people that lived out there, and we weren't able to identify all of them and get them out. So National Guard had us set up some basically stations where people could come for sanctuary, food, water, get cleaned up, rest, we would transport them down the mountain. And the only way they could notify people, this is pre-internet, text message emergency, was by flying over helicopter and making an announcement through what are they called, megaphones?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. So flying around, the mountain, he said they would do 3 routes a day, fly out and make the announcement and let people know where they were at what juncture they could find them. And so he said on the 3rd day that early in the morning, there was a family that showed up. But this family was like incredibly tall, something like in the 8 feet down to like 7, the child, and that there was a family of Bigfoot, a female.
Fur?
Yes, covered in fur, completely ashed out. He said they were just completely covered in soot, and you could just see their eyes, their teeth, but that they walked up for service. And he said this is a document. National Guard has this document, and that it just recently became public domain. Because they had it in like archives. But so this might be something you might want to investigate. But he was one of the young National Guards on site. He said that they took care of them. They got them washed up. That they spoke sort of like a broken dialect of Native and English and like some kind of like native tongue, indigenous tongue, but that they had the male in the group, the father, if you will, knew some bit of English. So he was able to communicate with them. He said they washed them up, gave them somewhere to rest, took documentation because they had to take documentation of everything, and that they were gone in the morning the next day, that they were just gone. Nobody heard them leave, but they were gone by sunrise.
This was 1980. Wow. Mount St. Helens is a volcano in southern Washington. Yes. And in case you're not familiar with it, the volcano erupted, and it covered the entire half of the country almost with ash, just for historical reference.
Yeah. And there's also on Mount St. Helens, there's a place called Ape Cave in Ape Canyon.
I've been there.
And
down in the Ape Caves.
Were you there for the Bigfoot dong?
No, I was there for the it was Quaaludes and tequila, I think.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Close.
Down.
Visualizing Bigfoot dongs in the caves of the Bigfoots.
Nice. It would make sense that they would be displaced.
Yes.
And it also makes sense that they probably live underground. If at least part of the time, if they're not interdimensional beings, which is, kind of a different realm of Bigfoot theory, that they kind of pop in and out of this dimension. Yeah. But like Mount Shasta mentioned earlier, that has tons of alien sightings, Bigfoot sightings, and is, some people think there's an alien base inside of it. Same with Mount Hood here in Washington. Yeah. So
Mount
at the very
Adams.
least,
Oregon.
or Mount
It's
Adams.
Mount Adams.
Mount Hood's in Oregon.
Well, I mean, all of them. I mean, every
have amazing
mountain
mountains.
has legends and stories.
It's part of the Ring of Fire.
Yes.
And on the West Coast here in the United States, where these volcanoes are connected along, and obviously earlier, development of the planet and tectonic shifts and such. They say that this is how this region was formed. And so these mountains, especially to the Native Americans, AJ, you'll agree, were very sacred and,
They
and
are
very,
very sacred.
powerful entities, in this part of the world. Therefore, there is a lot of belief that extraterrestrial activity happens and potentially Bigfoot is extraterrestrial.
Or maybe Bigfoots just come with volcanoes.
Hey,
Well, now there's a thought.
what do you mean by that?
Big volcanoes erupt Bigfoots.
Oh.
And then that's why we have, it's just something
Like
that hasn't
orcs.
been
It's not-
researched yet.
It's not far pitched from like all of our Hawaiian legends, like our Tutupele, our Hawaiian goddess, and the stories of how the Mauna, the mountain itself with its lavinous flow and what it creates, because it creates womb waters. It's like, not only is it creating this amazing fire that destroys and allows remineralization for rebirth, but it also creates water that's like womb water, it's like full of all of these elements and minerals and the things that are needed for life force energy. And it's the offshoot of the fire is the water that's created, So it's like, it's not far off from like some of the Kanakameole, like Hawaiian legends around how life emerged from volcanic energy.
Hey, there you go, Tyler. So,
Well, I just came up with that cockamamie theory
dig it,
just
bro.
now.
Good job.
fuck yeah, dude.
It's already on Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Spit out of a volcano.
Tyler said what?
Let's finish the show the way all of the TV shows are finished.
Okay.
Oh.
How are we gonna find him?
Going to the woods.
Far out. And
I
just
mean,
kick it.
or
Just go in the
Set a
you
trap.
can go to the woods and go look for them, or just as likely you're going to be driving along some mountain road at night and you see one, or in the day, because that's what a lot of people. I mean, that's why we go out there, because people keep seeing these things.
So is he
Bus drivers and truck drivers and it's
Are
crazy.
they a wild animal? Do you think they're like
Approachable
civilized?
or not approachable?
I think they're wildly civilized.
Are they freaks?
I'm not sure what they are. I don't know.
I feel like they feel probably freakish now.
Some
Kinda sad.
archaic form of human, a hominin, and
not a hominid.
Not a hominid. A
Not
hominid
like
is
a
humans
different
and
one of the
apes,
early
and
offshoots.
hominins
Yeah.
are just humans and prehistoric versions of humans. That's what a hominin is.
Cool.
And a hominid is human to ape. So that includes chimpanzees, gorillas, orangutans.
If you meet one, can we roast a bowl with him? Her? It?
Them, they, all of them. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Let's get the band
Oh,
together.
they identify as they.
Well, there's
Why not?
there's hims and hers. So
And kids
Yeah,
and children's.
I don't see why they wouldn't.
Long live the Bigfoot, man. I really hope they live long and prosper. I don't want any of our old species to leave this planet. Can we have him back for paleontology?
Although you might not want to teach him how to use a lighter. It might be a bad.
I'll light it
Yeah.
for him. AJ will
There you
offer him
go.
a hemp wicken.
Yeah.
So he has
Yeah.
clean lungs. All right,
Yes.
hey, Tyler, now it's time for you to play Bigfoot hippopotamus or rhinoceros.
Oh, God.
And now, hippopotamus
I'm a hippopotamus.
Wow.
I look like your mom.
or rhinoceros?
Hi, I'm a rhino. Mary, stop looking at my horns so longingly.
Oh
Here's
my.
Ricker.
Mirror.
All right, brother.
All right.
Good stuff, man.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you for sharing the mic. This is fun.
No, this is
We
crazy.
will get
This
you
is
back
rad.
on here, probably for more than one more show. This is
Okay.
great stuff because you're
Yeah.
like into folklore and other shit like that, right?
I mean, it's all part of the enigma, the mystery. This is what we're trying to figure out.
I dig it.
And it's so much easier to share information because of all the interwebs going through
Yeah,
the
brother.
sky and
It's
space.
mystical
and
magic.
bouncing off the moon and whatever.
Mystical
So,
magic, dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
The ether.
Hippopotamus or rhinoceros? We're going to shift gears to a couple other prehistoric species. On the heels of the massive international success of the games Serbia or Siberia, Australia or Austria, Colombia or Cambodia, and of course, salmon or salamander. Also, Tanzania or Tasmania, and hippopotamus or rhinoceros, which is what we're playing, penguin or pelican, and none other than platypus or pollywog.
Oh, platypus.
The franchise continues. Are you ready?
I am.
Oh, thank God. Good. I'm out of breath. All right, number one.
Sweet.
Hippopotamus or rhinoceros? This adult male weighs between 1,500 and 22 pounds. Which one?
1,522?
2,200 pounds. My bad. Yeah. The answer is not Bigfoot.
That would be hippopotamus.
He's wrong.
Oh, man.
It's rhinoceros. Hippos are one of the
Really?
largest animals on Earth and range in weight from 2,200 to 9,900 pounds, with the males being significantly larger than the females.
Ah, it was
Thank
a
you.
trick. It was
Yeah.
a trick question.
Aren't they all,
No.
AJ?
Yes.
Okay.
Ricker's full of tricks.
Damn it.
Just ribbing you, pal.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Number two. This animal produces around 50 pounds of poop a day.
Wow.
It's not the bearded lorax.
I knew you were going to say that.
Ooh, I knew you were going to say that too.
Why
That's
haven't we
funny.
found Bigfoot poop?
Yeah.
We may have.
That's not going to do
that
it.
doesn't help.
I don't know. I don't like.
Have the answer.
What's the
Okay.
diet?
Yeah.
That's fine. Back
I
to
mean,
the game.
Dude, I have often, fucked around with poop with a stick. So I do.
Your own or Bigfoot's?
Yes.
Fair.
I just said yes. Oh, Lord.
So,
oh, God.
this
is
particular animal,
TMI.
unrelated to you or Bigfoot,
Oh, what?
produces around 50 pounds of poop a day. Hippopotamus or rhinoceros?
I'm going to say rhinoceros.
What's that?
Rhinoceros.
Rhinoceros. He's right.
Hey, get your horns out.
I like rhinoceros.
Just so you know, hippos get rid of up to 400 pounds of waste per day.
Oh,
That's wild.
Wow.
think of your intestinal tract.
How much does Bigfoot weigh?
500? 700?
Wow.
Fair.
And
Somewhere
their
in
height,
there,
their
yeah.
height.
6 to 7,
Now,
maybe
is-
7 more.
Is that with all of their hair or with the lion poodle haircut?
with a mohawk?
There you go, brother. All right.
Yeah.
Number 3. When a bearded lorax is galloping through a rainbow on the back of this giant beast, its appearance could be mistaken for a fat gray unicorn. Hippopotamus or rhinoceros?
Great.
That's a rhinoceros.
That's correct.
Good job.
Of course, it's got a horn.
Yeah.
It should be noted that this has actually only been witnessed once, simply because rhinoceros can smell up to a mile away and are repulsed by the scent of bearded loraxes and Bigfoots. The one time a bearded lorax was able to get on the back of a rhino was because the bearded lorax was cuddle puddling in a pride of lions that shot off to hunt the rhino, and he miraculously saved it by jumping on the beast's back and directing it to safety at his favorite oasis. The amazing rampage was caught on camera by a jittery tourist who was shocked that he was witnessing a bearded lorax in broad daylight. Maybe it was a Bigfoot, brother.
Could have been.
The fearless bearded lorax.
It was here in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
I want to cuddle puddle with some lions.
Yeah.
You do? Oh, Lord. I don't
Can
know.
you imagine if
It's
Bigfoots
dangerous.
would ride on rhinoceroses?
That'd be badass.
That would be cool.
On an ostrich?
yeah.
Did you say?
Dude, that's a movie.
On an ostrich?
On a
Bigfoot on an ostrich?
Yeah.
That would be something to watch.
Oh my God.
Oh, goodness.
Tyler, where can we find you on social media?
Oh man.
You have to think about it. You're on TV
Yeah.
for
Or
6
what
years.
what about something that you're involved in?
Oh my gosh.
Not Bigfoot, you.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. I'm stoned.
Okay.
What's your YouTube channel?
I don't have a. Pacific. I need to
Pacific Northweird.
Pacific Northweird.
He's taking a sip of water. The man is
He's parched.
baked. AJ.
Yeah.
Freddy's Fuego in the
Baked.
house. Hey, Ben
Fuego in the
Davis.
house.
Parched. I'm parched. And then talking.
Yeah.
I'm doing a thing called Squatch Fest tomorrow.
What?
Down in.
This doesn't air for another month or so.
Oh,
Yeah.
then
So-
nothing's
Tell us
happening.
about
Instagram.
it. Tell us about it.
So
anyways.
everything I just did was great.
But
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, but tell us about it anyway. Sasquatch.
No, no,
What's-
I want to know your Instagram.
What's your Instagram handle?
I think it's Lost in Bounds.
Lost in Bounds.
Yeah.
Appreciate you being on the Leaf Live
I think that's
podcast,
me.
brother.
I'm trying to.
Fire him up, AJ.
I'm not a big social media guy.
Fair.
Okay.
I think that's the longest we've ever had a guest take to
Wow.
answer that question. That's
Yeah.
congratulations,
Yeah.
brother.
Good
well,
job.
I'm actually trying to kind of wean myself off of.
Social media.
Internet.
I'm glad
Good
you did.
job.
Did you have a good time today,
The
bro?
world.
Did you have fun?
Dude, this was amazing.
Far
This was
out.
hilarious.
All right.
Yeah. No, you guys. You guys did a real good job. It's funny.
Thank you.
Trying to over here stoned and trying to keep up with y'all, and then we're talking about Bigfoot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Hey, Wes, next week, roller skating and cannabis.
We rolling.
We rolling.
Ah, yeah.
Has Bigfoot
Let's go.
ever been caught on camera on roller skates?
Oh shit! Not yet.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Bigfoot skates. That's why they need the skates.
We just need to make skates big enough for him. Otherwise, it'd be there, right?
Oh, dude, that's a good idea. Has anybody tried leaving a size 50 roller skate out in the woods and see what happens?
No one here, I guess.
Let's go.
Mary's
Okay.
gonna be luring.
Oh man, I have a new TV show idea.
Hey.
Netflix. We're ready.
Here we go.
Download this and all Leaf Life episodes at leafmagazines.com. And please subscribe on YouTube at Leaf Life Podcast V2. Now get ready for another episode of Stony Baloney, which is also available at leafmagazines.com. And please be kind to animals.
Your hosts for Leaf Life are Mike Ricker and Wes Abney. Leaf Life is produced by Mike Daly. Some of the music heard is provided by purple-planet.com. Every bit of cannabis you use is female, so please respect the ladies. Leaf Life is brought to you by Leaf Nation, featuring Alaska Leaf, Oregon Leaf, Northwest Leaf, Maryland Leaf, Utah Leaf, Northeast Leaf, and California Leaf. On the shelf now in your local retailer. Now, please stay tuned for this week's edition of Stony Baloney by Mike Ricker.
Stony Baloney by Mike Ricker.
My Wi-Fi divorced me. The union of marriage is a sanctimonious institution that has effectively been the glue that has bound our species for millennia. Without that legal commitment, which has basically stood as a contract between two people to agree to love each other till death do them part, we'd be an 8 billion person planet full of nothing but singles ready to mingle. That's a terrifying thought. We all know that uninterrupted love to the very end is relatively unrealistic. But that's why you've got to lock that right one down before someone else swoops in and changes their mind. And it shows the old man in the golden throne chilling on cloud 19 with a Mai Tai in one hand and a heavenly joint in the other that you're a team player who abides by the scriptures. You want to make it past the pearly gates to cloud 69, right? Because matrimony is a religious indoctrination, not entirely based upon love, but in many ways necessary for the order that allows for our species to proliferate. People respond well to being given direction and told where to conform. And even though every animal in the kingdom requires a mate of opposite gender to make a baby, we are the only ones who feel the vital necessity to ink it onto paper. And even if you're an asshole like me who believes that this contract is a formality initiated by the church to keep us donating our tithes while we raise future tithers, there is no escaping the fact that each and every one of us is beholden to convenience of some kind. It's why we sign with blood when committing to our internet provider. Because this is our conduit to most of the world's information, including websites that contain salacious acts of naughtiness, which could keep you married or not.
Stony baloney. These products have intoxicating effects and may be habit-forming.
Marijuana can impair concentration, coordination, and judgment.
Do not operate a vehicle or machinery under the influence of this drug.
There may be health risks associated with consumption of these products.
For use by adults 21 and older.
Keep out of the reach of children.